Michael Jackson's last weeks alive. Here he is watching rehearsals of what was to be his final concert tour. And then the week before he died so suddenly, leaving his dermatologist's office.
Michael, how are you, Michael? You look wonderful, brother. Michael. How are you feeling? Sorry. Good. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. God bless you, Michael.
Was he high on prescription drugs, fighting pain and fatigue with overprescribed pharmaceuticals? ABC News has learned the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency has now joined the LAPD investigation because a number of prescription drugs were allegedly found in the Jackson residence. Law enforcement sources say one of them was a strong narcotic that is known to cause a dreamlike state. Registered nurse Sherilyn Lee says she helped Michael Jackson with nutrition during those weeks, and she says the singer was desperate to sleep.
He said, find me an anesthesiologist. I don't care how much money they want. Find me an anesthesiologist to be with me here overnight.
Jackson, she says, begged her for a powerful sedative called Diprivan, a drug not normally used at home, only at hospitals, to knock out surgical patients.
Give me this IV. So it's his time. I didn't know what it was, and I stepped away from him. I called a friend of mine who was a medical doctor, and I said, what is this medicine? He said, why are you asking about that? He said, that's the medication they use in ICU.
In the home, I would just not be able to imagine it. Anyone who would want to do that would be taking an exceptional risk, and any physician to do it, I would consider it irresponsible and unethical. You just can't do that.
Lee, who calls herself a doctor but is actually only a nurse, practices holistic medicine and claims she warned Jackson of the dangers.
I look at you, Michael, and I've been around you long enough now. I love you as family. I would not give this to anyone. This is not a safe medicine. Please don't take this. And I said, the problem with you telling me you want to be knocked out, those were his words, is that you might not wake up the next morning. I mean, the last end result of this is death. I said, you don't want to do this. He said, no, my doctor said it's safe. It works quick and it's safe. As long as somebody's here to monitor me and wake me up, I'm going to be okay.
Then, 4 days before he died, Lee says she received a frantic phone call from one of Michael Jackson's aides.
He said, Michael needs to see you right away. Can you come and see him? And I said, what's wrong? And I could hear Michael in the background. Tell her that one side of my body is hot, and one side of my body is cold. It's very cold. And I said, tell him he needs to go to the hospital.
Sherilyn Lee says she was worried because Michael did not go to the hospital, and the symptoms he described seemed life-threatening.
And at that point, I knew that somebody had given him something that hit that central nervous system because, that's all he wanted was to sleep, but he was in trouble. He was in trouble Sunday.
Within a week, Jackson was dead, and on Monday, coroner's investigators were taking medications and needles from his Holmby Hills mansion.
Those items have been taken into custody as evidence, and will be returning to our office to analyze some of the stuff.
What kind of stuff are we talking about?
Some medications that we did locate.
Could it be Diprivan? That remains to be seen. But another mystery surrounding Jackson's death became a bit clearer today. Michael Jackson's much-anticipated will was finally released. 5 pages, paragraphs initialed MJ. Jackson declares that all assets be controlled by the Michael Jackson Family Trust. A petition filed with the will puts his estate's worth at more than $500 million.
One of the principal reasons individuals of all kinds, celebrity and non-celebrity alike, establish so-called family trusts, which we also call living trusts, is so that they can actually lay out all the details of their estate plan in a document that, absent extraordinary circumstances, will never see the light of day.
This one.
But what about all that debt we've heard about? Jackson was a notorious spendthrift, seen here in the documentary Living with Michael Jackson, allegedly on a lavish spending spree in Las Vegas.
That's the soul sign means for me.
Okay, how much is that one?
Did we ever get this one, these ones?
It's only 89,000.
How long will this all take?
To marshal the assets, determine and pay what the debts are, resolve any disputes that may arise as a result of his death. So it would take a while. But there are mechanisms to provide, for example, monthly support, to make sure that all of the children's needs are provided for.
Most friends and experts believe what he owns outweighs the bills. And after all, he is half owner of some of the most popular music in the world, the Beatles library, and his own. And now, Michael Jackson is hotter than ever. According to Billboard magazine, in the 3 days after his death, he sold more than 400,000 albums, along with 1.8 million digital tracks.
With the sales of Michael's records right now and the spending stopped, once all the debt, the loans are paid back from the estate will end up being a very lucrative moneymaker for the children or the estate holders.
As for custody of Jackson's 3 children, in the will he states that if any of my children are minors at the time of my death, I nominate my mother, Katherine Jackson, as guardian. If Katherine Jackson fails to survive me or is unable or unwilling to act as guardian, I nominate Diana Ross as guardian of the persons and estates of such minor children. Diana Ross, now 65, was one of Jackson's closest friends. The two starred in The Wiz. She was Dorothy. Michael played the Scarecrow. One person noticeably absent from the will, Jackson's second wife. ABC News has obtained this exclusive portrait of a happier time for Jackson and Debbie Rowe, the mother of Jackson's first 2 children, also shown in this fairy tale picture. In fact, she's not only left out of the will, Jackson singled her out. No kids, no money. But while that is clearly Michael's wish, it is not the deciding factor on custody. So Debbie Rowe is not totally out of the picture at this point as far as the children are concerned.
No, my understanding is she is the natural mother of the children, so she has standing as the natural mother to take whatever position she may wish to take. Whoever is the guardian of the minor children will get some indirect benefit because the children's needs for housing, for food, for entertainment, for school, and so on, especially given the presumable size of Michael Jackson's estate.
All 3 children are now with their grandmother in Encino, waiting along with everyone else for an announcement on funeral arrangements.
Yeah, any funeral arrangements?
Yes, but I can't tell you until it's announced.
Thank you, sir.
Tonight, the family did release a statement ruling out Neverland as the final resting place. Instead, Jackson will be memorialized in Los Angeles at a sporting arena, probably, say sources, on Tuesday. This is Jim Avila for Nightline in Encino, California.